Level 1. The hand-me-down era, 0 to 2 years. You're keeping a human alive on creativity and second-hand everything. The onesie has a small stain near the collar, not visible when the snap is done up. You put it on anyway. This is the hand-me-down era, and if you're living it right, almost nothing your baby wears, sleeps in, or chews on was purchased new. The bouncer came from your sister-in-law. The swing, the $280 swing that some babies love and some babies hate, and you have no way of knowing which type you have until the swing arrives. Came from a Facebook marketplace listing in the next town over, $45 cash. You are resourceful in a way that feels like survival and occasionally feels like a competitive sport. Every consignment sale in a 30-mile radius. Which buy-nothing groups move fast and which ones are mostly people posting pictures of furniture nobody wants. You know that baby clothes in sizes 0 to 3 months are always plentiful because babies grow out of them before they can wear them enough to wear them out. What you spend anyway, because some things you just spend on. The car seat? New, because used car seats have unknown histories, and this is not the category for savings. The pediatrician co-pays, which add up to $600 to $900 in the first year between well visits and the inevitable sick visits and the 2 a.m. call to the nurse line where you describe a rash to someone who cannot see it and both of you do your best. Formula. If you're formula feeding, $200 to $300 a month, a number that lands differently once you're actually buying it every week. Total first year done carefully. $8,000 to $12,000. Done without thinking, $18,000 to $25,000. The difference is entirely in the decisions the decisions you make at 11 p.m. on Amazon when the baby finally fell asleep, and you're too tired to comparison shop and the one-click purchasing button exists specifically for this moment in human vulnerability. You close the laptop, you open it again, you buy the thing. Level 2. The daycare debt. The bill that made you do the math 3 times because the first 2 times you were sure you'd made an error. You didn't make an error. Infant daycare in a major American city is $2,400 to $4,200 a month. That is not a typo. That is not the premium option. That is the baseline, regulated, licensed, staff ratio compliant facility where a trained adult watches your child alongside 3 other infants, which is the legal ratio in most states, which is expensive to maintain, which is why the number is what it is. You do the math the first time and assume you made a mistake. You do it again. You call the facility to confirm they didn't mean per semester. They did not mean per semester. The conversation that follows, the one between you and your partner about what this means, bro, is one of the most clarifying financial conversations of your marriage. You are not talking about a vacation you'll skip or a car upgrade you'll delay. You are talking about whether one of you goes back to work at all. The math for some families, particularly when a second child is factored in, when childcare costs double, produces a number that is flat, 0, or negative. One salary minus $4,000 a month is sometimes less than 0 once you subtract transportation and work clothes and lunch. Staying home is framed as a choice. It is also sometimes arithmetic. If you do return to work, the search for childcare starts the moment you see the positive test because the wait lists are real, and 18 months is not an unusual wait time for infant spots at quality centers. You get on 3 lists at 12 weeks pregnant. You tour facilities with the specific attention of someone evaluating a place where they will leave the most important thing in their life every weekday. You choose the one that felt right in a way you can't fully articulate. You write the first check. You do not annualize it in your head because the annualized number, $36,000 for 1 child, $72,000 for 2, is not a number you can hold and function. You write the check monthly, 1 month at a time, for 3 years until kindergarten. Level 3. The extracurricular arms race, ages 6 to 14. The activities are enriching. The cost is enriching someone else. It starts innocently. Soccer on Saturday mornings, $95 for the season, shin guards included. Your kid likes it. They're reasonably good at it. A coach mentions the travel team. This is the moment. This specific moment, the mention of the travel team, is where recreational youth sports become something with its own economy and its own gravitational pull, and its own community of parents who are all doing this together, and therefore it becomes very hard to be the one who isn't. Travel soccer. $4,000 in club fees, $1,500 in tournaments, $3,500 in travels, the hotels in Columbus for the weekend tournament, the flights to the regional qualifier, the gas for the practices that are 40 minutes away because the field your club uses is 40 minutes away, $800 in gear because the gear requirements are specific and the old cleats don't meet the new club standards, private training, which every other kid on the team is getting and which costs $80 to $120 per session weekly. You are spending $10,000 to $14,000 a year on youth soccer. Your child is 11. Now add piano lessons, because their school friends take piano and they want to, and you believe in well-rounded development, $120 a month. Add the tutoring you started in 4th grade because their reading level tested slightly below grade and you weren't willing to wait and see $85 a week. Add the summer STEM camp that looked genuinely interesting and also looks genuinely good on a middle school application, $3,200 for 2 weeks. The extracurricular arms race is what happens when parental love intersects with ambient cultural anxiety about outcomes. You are not doing this to perform. You genuinely want your child to develop, to find their thing, to be ready. The readiness at this income level requires investment, and the investment has no obvious ceiling because someone around you is always doing a little more. Annual extracurricular spend, one child ages 8 to 14, $12,000 to $22,000. You tell yourself it's worth it. You believe this. You are also not sleeping great. Level 4, the private school sacrifice, $28,000 a year. You drove the old car for 3 more years. You haven't been on a real vacation since 2019. The decision happened over several months of conversations that kept ending the same way. The public school in your district is fine, not bad, fine. Your child's teacher is well-intentioned and managing 28 students and doing what one person can do with 28 kids in a standardized curriculum and a classroom budget that runs out in October. Your child is doing fine in that environment. The question you keep asking yourselves, the one that doesn't have a clean answer, is whether fine is enough. You visit the private school. The class size is 16. The science lab has equipment that works. The college counseling program starts in 9th grade. The students you meet seem engaged in a way that's genuinely different from what you're used to seeing. The campus is beautiful. The tuition is $28,000. The decision to pay it requires sacrifice in the specific way that sacrifice works when you're not wealthy. Not dramatic, just constant. You drive the 2016 Honda Accord for another 3 years. You cancel the family vacation you've been half planning and replace it with a long weekend 2 states over. You stop eating at restaurants that don't have kids' menus. You pause the retirement contributions above the employer match, which your financial advisor says is not what he'd recommend. But also he's never written a $28,000 tuition check and then driven home in a 2016 Accord. 4 years of private middle school, $112,000. 4 years of private high school, $136,000 to $180,000 depending on annual tuition increases, which average 4% and are announced each spring in a letter that you open and read and then put face down on the counter. The other parents in the car line have nicer cars than you. You've stopped tracking this. You decided at some point that the car is what you traded. The car was worth trading. Your child is thriving, genuinely thriving. You hold on to this when the April tuition increase letter arrives. Level 5. The college consultant. $10,000. For someone to tell your child how to tell their story in 650 words, you hired a college consultant? This sentence requires some internal reconciliation because you are a person who believes that kids should earn their way, that merit speaks for itself, that the process should be about fit and genuine accomplishment, and not manufactured presentation. You believe all of this. You also hired a college consultant. The rationalization is available and not entirely dishonest. The college admissions process at selective schools is genuinely opaque. The acceptance rates are genuinely brutal, 3% to 7% at the most selective schools, meaning 93 to 97 out of every 100 kids who apply don't get in. The essay genuinely matters. And most 17-year-olds, no matter how accomplished, don't naturally write prose that reads as simultaneously authentic and compelling to an admissions officer who reads 50 applications a day. The consultant costs $10,000 for a comprehensive package, junior year through submission. She meets with your child every 2 weeks. She helps identify the angle, the specific through line of experience and interest that makes your child's application coherent, rather than just a list of achievements. She reviews essay drafts, multiple drafts. She knows what works and what sounds like every other essay she's read. What she can't do, what nobody can do, is guarantee anything. The selectivity is real. The randomness is real. Admissions at schools below a 20% acceptance rate involves human judgment applied inconsistently to an enormous volume of strong applications, and the consultant's value is in maximizing the quality of the presentation, not controlling the outcome. Your child applies to 14 schools. The consultant helps shape every one of them. In April, 3 acceptances come. One of them is a school you're genuinely proud of. The consultant emails to congratulate you. You feel something complicated. Gratitude, relief, mild discomfort about what you spent to get here. You write the deposit check, $500. You think about the $10,500 total. You tell yourself it was worth it. You think it probably was. You're not entirely sure what you're measuring. Level 6, the Ivy League tuition, $340,000. 4 years. The most expensive invoice you will ever receive for something you couldn't be prouder of. The financial aid package arrives 10 days after the acceptance. You read it 3 times because the format is confusing and the terminology. Expected family contribution, institutional grant, subsidized loan, work study is not intuitive. And the number that matters most is buried in the calculation. Your expected family contribution, $52,000. The school meets 100% of demonstrated need. Your grant aid, $28,000. Loans and work study, $8,500. Your out-of-pocket annual cost, $52,000. Over 4 years, $208,000. This is the aid scenario. This is the number after the school has done what it does. If you didn't qualify for need-based aid, and at certain income levels with certain asset profiles, you don't, the number is the full sticker price. $82,000 to $88,000 annually, or $328,000 to $352,000 for 4 years before spending money, flights home, and the other expenses that don't appear on the institutional bill. The PLUS loan enters the picture. Federal parent loans currently at 9.08% interest, no limit except the cost of attendance. You borrow $120,000 across 4 years. Over 10 years of repayment, you'll return $195,000. You're paying $75,000 in interest for the privilege of borrowing money to send your child to a school that will, statistically, open doors that remain closed to graduates of other schools. The ROI argument is real. Ivy graduates earn meaningfully more over their careers. The network is genuinely different. The graduate school placement is genuinely different. The doors that open are genuinely different. The debt is also real. It lands in your 60s when retirement should be the focus, not $1,600 monthly loan payments. You manage it. You made the decision with eyes open. You'd probably make it again. Your child graduates in May, cap and gown, you take 100 photos and mean every one of them. On the flight home, you do the math one more time. Birth to diploma, somewhere north of $700,000, not counting your time, which is the other thing you gave that has no dollar value and never will. You don't regret a number. That's not financial advice. That's just the truth. Level 7. The trust fund legacy. Your child will never do this math. That's the point. That's also the complication. The trust was established when they were born. $500,000 from a grandparent who understood compound interest and had the foresight to start early. By the time your child turns 25, that trust, managed conservatively, growing at 6% annually, is worth $2.1 million. By 35, without them adding a dollar, it approaches $3.7 million. They will never worry about daycare costs. They will never calculate whether the travel team is financially viable. The private school tuition will be covered. The college application process will not involve anxiety about financial aid packages. The first apartment security deposit, the thing that defeats so many young adults, will be handled with a call to a trustee. This is the point. This is what generational wealth looks like in practice. Not luxury exactly, but the permanent removal of the specific anxiety that money creates when you don't have enough of it. The freedom from that anxiety is more valuable than most wealthy people acknowledge, and more consequential than most non-wealthy people can imagine until they've lived without it. Here's the complication that parents in this position think about more than they discuss publicly. You are raising a child who will never experience the hunger that drove you, the hunger that made you resourceful, that made you show up, that made you take the job you didn't love because the rent needed paying and the daycare needed paying and the math required it. That hunger produced something in you. You can see it in how you work, how you problem solve, how you handle difficulty. You want to give your child every advantage. You also quietly wonder what they lose by having it. The wealthy parents who talk honestly about this, not many but some, describe a very specific parenting challenge. How do you instill drive in someone who doesn't need to be driven? How do you build resilience in a person who will never face the consequences that build resilience in most people? Some of them pull back the trust, delay access, require demonstrated self-sufficiency before the money transfers. Some don't because withholding from your own child, even strategically, feels like a betrayal of the whole point of earning it. There is no clean answer. The trust exists. The child grows up knowing it exists. Who they become inside that knowledge is the actual parenting challenge, not the money, never the money. The money was always the easy part. The cost of raising a child in America is not a number. It's a series of decisions made under love and anxiety and imperfect information, compounding forward over 22 years into something you couldn't have planned at the beginning and couldn't imagine giving back at the end. Wherever you are in this, subscribe, more of these coming, and drop a comment about your level. You're not alone in the math.